All right, we're live, plain in traffic. I'm Ray Guarino from Motormouth Radio, and I'm not in a truck. And Lewis Lee is out at Sema. He should be checking in, I'm sure, with all the boys, unless he's having too much fun, which is a great song covered by Bill Kirshen and Commander Cody had done it too, called "Too Much Fun." Fantastic song. You got to check it out. So, got Macroman Brian here with me.
Hey, what's up?
And we'll talk shop, talk stuff, do all sorts of crazy stuff, and see what shakes. I was trying to get Evan Steger on tonight from Time to Shine Polish, because I had an email with him a couple of weeks ago, and he said he'd be free on the 2nd. So I reached out to him yesterday, but he didn't get back to me. So I guess he's not. I guess he's not free on the 2nd.
Yeah, I was. It was great. I heard when he was on the radio and on your show over there at Motormouth, and it was very entertaining, very informational. And actually, I started digging around, and I found some of the German stuff. I think it was called Blue Max.
Oh yeah, I remember Blue Max. Yeah,
and it was. You bought it at a gun shop. I mean, I bought it at a gun shop.
Okay.
It was supposed to be for firearms and so forth for the metal. But this stuff was so toxic. It had skull and crossbones on the package. You know what I'm saying? And when you open it, I don't care. You can smell it. And I don't care how how metal it was. I mean, old metal. You put that on there and just rub it in with and it just cleaned it up and polished. I mean, this stuff was great. It was incredible. Like I said, it's too bad you probably had to go to Canada to buy it.
Well, I'll tell you, that's exactly what happened when I had the half a bottle of his aluminum polish and put it on my wheels that I couldn't really polish. They just turned like bright, like crazy. And it's because it's a petroleum distillate in there.
Yeah.
And Evan said, that's what does it. So, if you want to check out the Time to Shine stuff, the website is goshineon.com. And you can check out all this stuff. And since then, I've used the aluminum polish, the chrome polish. I've been using their glass. I forget what they call it. It's a glass. It's not a cleaner. It's a coating. And I put it on my car because he said it works like a Rain-X where everything will just fly off. But the first thing I did was I put it on my cell phone. And I where was I? I was somewhere. I had I was at a cruise night and I was handing my phone to everybody. I said, swipe the phone. And they were all, guys have all different thicknesses of callus and crazy crap on their fingers, but everybody said the same thing. It was like, wow, it's so smooth. Like, how did you do that? Like, I just coated it once with this glass stuff. So I've been doing my eyeglasses with it, and phenomenal product. Everything I've used so far has been absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, that's awesome. I tell you, and it's of course, like everything else, you find something you like. And by the time it runs out, you can't find it anymore, or it's changed, or, it's new and improved, or, it's great to find somebody that's been around and, nothing's changed, it works.
Well, that's what happened with the original product I had, which was from Brooklyn Ball Buster. It was a silver metallic liquid, and other people have known about that, by the way. Same thing. I had some of that, and it did the same job. Again, petroleum distillate. So now I could see a little rack in the tool truck, with this stuff on it, man. I tell you, I got a feeling it would move. I'm gonna take it to some of my wrenches because I have wrenches that are 48 years old. You know? I mean, and when they're worn down, it's not going to do anything. But I will imagine, from what I saw, that the chrome polish, due to even mildly pitted chrome, it kind of forgets about the pits, but it attacks that chrome and it just
Right.
really makes it pop.
Yeah, I have Flitz. I have a lot of Flitz products.
I use those in splits too, and it's probably because that was a German thing. That was that nice blue cream.
Yeah, and it like I said, it works.
I'll tell you the funny thing.
It's good.
The aluminum polish, you literally have to wipe it on, and the terry cloth will turn black, and then you buff it with a clean one. But the chrome polish, their directions say after you shake that bottle, you put it on a terry cloth buff, and you just wipe it on the chrome. You don't scour it, you don't rub it, you wipe it on, and I let it dry. I'll give it a few minutes, and then just take it off with a microfiber, and it's unbelievable how it cleans. I don't know. I don't know how they do it. Very good stuff. But I love it when I find a product or a company that just this stuff does what it says it's going to do and then some.
Right.
I mean, because now that's something to get excited about. Today, everything is so middle of the road. Just modicum, and you're lucky if it does half of what it's supposed to do. You feel like you're getting a deal.
Right.
Now when you get something like that, it's totally phenomenal. But
yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome. And again, when I'm not a chrome guy. I'm more of aluminum, and even the aluminum, I don't really, I don't like it shiny anyway. So,
okay.
But it is funny though when you do clean it up and you bring it back to its, I guess, natural, or how it was when it was new. If it had a little bit of a shine, it's always like, wow, man, I should keep it like this, because you kind of get that age to it. And I like the patina look, but
see, the other thing is I'm not a polishing, cleaning, detailing guy. I don't like doing that. I find it, I'll start at it, but then either, your muscles start to ache, or my back will bother me, or my leg will hurt, and it's like, screw this. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm like, I'd rather go wrench on something. But I've cleaned my car 3 times already with this stuff. It's ridiculous. And I'll tell you something, just by doing the wheels and going to a cruise night where these guys know my car. What, you paint your car? I'm like, no. What do you mean? It is painted. I'm like, they thought that I changed. What did you change? You changed something. I'm like, yeah, I did change something. And they're going over it, like trying to figure out what it is. I'm like, no, I polished the wheels. And that was just enough. That was it. That was enough to really make it look different. And so, again, home run.
That's awesome. Like I said, instead of being a chrome guy, I'm more of a nickel guy, I guess, is how you would say.
Okay. I never had it. Yeah, I I have a hand going to nickel. But actually, the hand going to nickel finish looks like chrome. It was somebody polished nickel. But and believe me, on my car, the only bright work are the rim bands of those wheels and the stainless window trim and the bumpers, of course. The chrome bumpers. That's it. I don't have chrome under the hood. I don't have chrome anywhere else. So, I guess that's. Let's go see. Let me switch here. Let's see. Here we got some boys here. Let's open this up.
There he is, Papa Squirrel. Jim.
Hey, fellas.
Jim heard part of the conversation about King Tut there.
Okay.
Yeah, looked it up real fast.
Oh.
Yeah. He played a great character. All the guys all the celebrities played great characters. That was good stuff.
Hey, Ray, you were talking about the wheel polish you were using on your car.
Yeah.
Will it work on wheels that have been clear coated?
You asked that, I think, on Facebook a while ago.
Yeah, and I never got an answer.
I replied.
Oh, I didn't see it. Sorry.
Yeah. No. Well, I'm going to say no, not the way you think, because the clear coat, you're going to now be polishing the clear coat, not the aluminum. So, if that's what you want, like you're thinking like the Impala wheels, I guess.
Exactly. It's exactly what I got on the car.
Yeah, they're clear coated. So unless the clear coat is removed and you can get to the bare aluminum, all you're doing is coating the clear coat.
Most likely the clear coat turned yellow from the heat.
They turn yellow and it starts to chip off too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, my wheels are still in good shape, so I'm not worried about that.
Yeah, that's why a lot of guys went to chrome wheels years ago. They took their wheels off and had them replated or whatever. So I didn't. I took mine off and I put 9C1 wheels on the car. I went the other way. I said, "The hell with it." Papa Squirrel, you got the you trimmed it up, huh?
Uh-oh.
He jinxed it.
Was it something I said? Or is that the international sign for kill the camel? I don't know. Maybe I missed. Yeah,
That was it. You okay there, Paul?
Oh, I'm fine. I'm just sitting back, enjoying, taking it all in, checking out the subject.
You're not in the shop tonight, huh?
Before I throw in my 2 cents.
Throw them in.
I didn't think you. I thought you were frozen or something. I was going to come down there and shake you a little bit, make sure get you going.
Give me a jump start.
Yeah. Anything good going on?
Sherry and I are going to leave in the morning for Tennessee. Angel Tree Charity Car Show in Tennessee. I've gone a few years in the past. I made that show one of my stops last year on relocating to Texas. When I had the Model A on the trailer behind the U-Haul, we stopped in Dyersburg, Tennessee for the car show. And they gave me a long distance award.
Where is Dyersburg, Paul?
It's in the northwest corner of Tennessee.
Oh wow, okay. Yeah, I've never been up that way.
From Washington, D.C. to there, I think it was 14 hours.
Yeah.
From here, it's like 6.
Right.
Are you taking the Model A?
Hell no, I'm taking the Honda.
Okay.
I was watching that Vice Grip Garage dude, and he bought some Model A off of eBay, and he was going to drive it home, and it was a fairly interesting operation with him. He had that shaft coming out of the water pump. He had that whole ordeal, and there were a few other things, but he had to plan everything because, with the top speed of 40 miles an hour and
if lucky.
If lucky, and with the fuel range, it was kind of interesting. So, and of course, when he bought what he bought on the pictures was nowhere near when he flew out to go pick it up. You know what I'm saying? Because the guy's like, "Oh, I drive it everywhere, and it's great." And of course, you realize like the last time it had really been anywhere was like 5 years later. It's been sitting. So that was pretty interesting.
Last Saturday, in the town about 10 miles down the dirt road that I live on, they have, I forget what the actual official name of it's called. I called it Model A Day. Apparently for like the last 60 years, there's been Model A Club car show gathering and swap meet in this town. This was the 60th year.
Wow.
So it was kind of funny that Saturday morning it was raining, and it's a rain or shine event. Some of these people are coming from all over the United States. And I said to Sherry, yeah, we can go down there and go eat breakfast in town. And I said, we shouldn't have any problem because they're all going to be lining the streets to see the parade. I was making fun of it, stabbing a jab at the purist Model A guys. And at the little town itself, too, which I shouldn't do. This is where I live. But she said something to me, and I said, yeah, I'll get the car out of the garage. So we drove down in the 30, and they were flagging me into the staging area for the parade. And I'm like, no. I'm just going down to eat breakfast, and I'll watch the parade. And you could tell there was some mixed feelings. These are purists. They're not like my car.
Uh-huh.
So we drive into town, and I park right at the edge where they shut the town down. And all the people were sitting there in their lawn chairs in the rain, waiting for the parade of the original Model A's. And I go pulling in, go around to the restaurant. The restaurant's empty. Everyone's out on the streets. Sit there and have breakfast. And I walked over to the tent and the registration tent. I said, "Can anybody be in the car show?" I was playing real dumb. "Can anybody be in the car show?" And they're like, "Well, yes, sir." I said, "Okay." She goes, "You didn't have to be in the parade." No. Okay. So, but she goes, "You got to wait until the parade comes through, and then you can park behind everybody." I said, she goes, "All the Model A's parked down the center of the street." I said, "Okay." I said, "But I'm in a Model A. Does that help?" And the lady just looked at me. I said, "Yeah, that one over there on the corner, that one's mine." And she goes, "Okay." She'd already taken my $10. So waited. Parade comes through. They shut the street back down. I walk up to an officer who's doing traffic control, and he go ahead and he pulls me in. I park right with all the other Model A's right on the end. There were all kinds of people around my car all day long. And then we said, let's go ahead and get out of here. And I got home just before the heavy rains came.
Yeah. Invite yourself in.
It was kind of fun to poke a little at the purist Model A guys.
Yeah, that's with any car line, anybody car there, you have your purist, and some guys will just have a real heart attack about something.
Oh yeah, they do.
That never changes. That's kind of across the board.
Yeah. So,
how's the weather back up in the Mid-Atlantic?
Oh, when Halloween comes, the temperature drops, and it felt like a rock. The day before, it was 82 and nice, and we're all walking around. And by that afternoon, at 10 minutes to 5, the temperature dropped 35 degrees, and the wind picked up, and all the leaves fell off the trees. So it never fails on Halloween. So that's where we're at.
I had it on my calendar that a year ago, yesterday, I pressure washed the front driveway apron, my big rock, and my in the front patio. So it had to be warm for me to be doing that because, you kind of get wet when you pressure wash. I don't like doing it when I get cold. So last year, I guess it was warmer.
I think it was, I don't know, maybe a week or 10 days before today. We had a rain front that came through, and the temperature kind of dropped. And it was funny because the wife goes, "We're turning the heat on," and I was like, "I don't know." She goes, "We're turning the heat on." So we had the heat on for like 2 days, and then of course, it was. I actually came home in the middle of the day to put my shorts on because it was 80 degrees, and it's been like that, and I said, "Well, don't worry. Halloween's the turning point here." And sure enough, Halloween, it dropped. Started out beautiful and dropped like a rock. So.
I just made it under the wire because what I've been doing is I've doing a couple of refreshing projects. I was kind of restoring the console for my car, and now I'm doing my tail panel, and I got to paint them. I have to tape everything off with fine line tape and masking tape, and then I have to paint them. So today I was able to get out there in the last bit of sun and spray the tail panel, and then I kind of let it stop stinking, and I brought it in the house where it's warm, and so the paint can cure. But that's my outdoor spray booth when it's warm. That's when I like to do anything. So what do you guys do for paint stuff and conditioning, especially in the winter?
What do I do it in my garage? I mean, if anybody has a problem, it's oh well.
Nice.
So that's a new concept to me. You work in your garage?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a garage is to be worked in?
Yeah, I do too.
My garage is my
It's
my
either
home,
that or
my
outside,
office.
Paul. It's
Wow, I'm
either
gonna have
there
to
or
try that
outside,
one
man.
day.
And you should have enough room in your garage to do that. I mean, come on now. I gotta move half the stuff, but if I do anything, but
I actually got in the habit a couple of years ago of around this time of year, I'll go through my shelves and take a lot of the aerosol cans and bring them in the house and just leave them there. Because when you leave them sit out in the winter, especially when you get, we get some cold winters and all, they'll
yeah,
start going flat over time. So I bring them in the house to kind of, my wife's happy
Yeah.
about that.
I guess it was first or second year in the house. I removed the ceiling in the certain spots and tapped into the heating and air conditioning. So the garage is heated and air conditioned.
Yeah, it's nice when you're attached. I have a detached garage, so
Yeah.
I'm separate. I'm on my own.
Yeah.
Yeah, my garage is 280 feet away from the front door.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's far. That's a hike.
Yeah, it'd be hard to, rob the air conditioning from the house.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
I think I'd get a scooter just to get out there.
Oh no, it's a nice. Actually, I don't take the most direct route. I walk out the back door, down the driveway, out, and then go down the gravel driveway that I got leading to the garage. That's usually my path that I walk.
he takes the long way home.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to grow grass. I don't want to keep walking across it and have a pathway.
Right.
That's like somebody asks about, how big is your route or how many miles you put a week on the truck, and I'm like, yeah, I put like 125 miles a week on the truck. And if I take the long way home, it might be 135, but so he's like, that's all you drive? And I'm like, yeah, just one big circle. I mean, it's fairly close. I could be anywhere in my route in 20 minutes, give or take. So,
Well, that's very beneficial for you as a tool person, because I know lots of tool people who that was not their territory where they lived.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotten lucky. Well, they try to set it up that way because that was one of the big problems. They would get a guy in, and he had an hour drive, and usually after couple of months of that or a year of that, especially if they got to go through a winter, they're like, screw this, man. I can't make this. This drive's killing me back and forth on my route.
You keep your truck at your house, I assume.
Yeah, I'm
Whereas
lucky.
There's a lot of people in your industry who decided to live in condos or apartments and HOAs and can't have their truck in their neighborhood, even though they have a 1 acre lot in a subdivision. No commercial vehicles parked in the street or in your driveway. Yeah,
they changed that. They actually changed that, but I'm grandfathered in because they had that. I'm allowed one commercial vehicle.
You're Howard County?
No, I'm Montgomery.
You're Montgomery County.
Yeah, they changed that back in I don't know, somewhere around 2010 or something. Because they were starting to have a lot of problems of landscapers or electrical guys. They'd have a home base and they'd have 4 or 5 trucks out in front of the place.
Okay.
So they cracked down on it, and that was like the same thing, especially in Wheaton and so forth. People were like paving over the grass and making their whole front yard because they have 17 families living in one house, and
right.
They kind of started cracking down on all that about you had to have X amount of green space and you had to have X amount of car. It just got kind of carried away. And every once in a while, I get a knock on the door and some dude from the county, and I say, "Oh, time out." Get my little letter saying that I've And also, the area that I live in is also a zoned for basically like blue collar, plumber, electrician, bricklayer.
Yeah, your Burtonsville area.
Yeah. I've only had one person say that I'm not a bricklayer or a carpenter, so I shouldn't be zoned for it. But
So what are you like right by
you know where
198 and Old Gunpowder Road?
No. I am 198 and New Hampshire Avenue.
Oh, you're down at the other end.
Yeah.
You're like by Abrams.
Yeah.
Now that we're given the exact directions to where Brian lives.
It's all right. Come on by.
Yeah.
So
I understand.
Yeah,
you have
no,
some new stuff on the truck.
huh?
I understand you have some new cleaning stuff on the truck.
Yeah, I got some new boxes, new sheet metal, man. I tell you, it wore my ass out last night. I mean, the other night. I unloaded the whole truck and put all new sheet metal on.
What
Crazy.
sheet metal are you talking about?
Toolboxes.
Oh, boxes. Okay.
Yeah, I got of course it's going to be dark. I meant to try to take a picture today. I got the brand new 4 Series.
Okay.
3 bay, and let's see, what is this? This is a and a 6 Series 3 bay.
Oh, nice.
That's thunderstorm gray with purple trim.
Very nice.
10 grand?
About 15.
Oh, okay. Put me down for 5.
No, that's an easy payment. We'll go from there. And then this is the 4 bay and the 6 bay, but it's the new 4 Series 3 bay, and it's same setup. This is the first one. Here is the 6, and that's the 4. The other one is one straight on.
How do you think that they're going to be to sell, being the state of the economy that you've been talking about with the guys on your route?
Well, Ray, I'm really kind of hoping. I got a couple guys on the hook. I'm giving a killer deal, and I hope something happens, because if not,
yeah, me too.
But the problem I had, and it's a problem that guys fall into, I hadn't had anything. I hadn't had anything new on the truck for over a year.
Wow.
And I will say that it's been difficult to sell. I've sold more of my used stuff. I mean, I got a locker full of used stuff, trade-ins,
Right.
And
trade-ins always sell.
Trade-ins always sell.
Always.
And I'm hoping. I'm not really hoping. I know I'll sell them. I mean, it's just, like I said, I have a few shop owners. This time of the year, they start talking about spending money. They have to spend money. They have to buy something.
Right.
I got, like I said, a couple guys. The biggest problem I had before, because at one time I used to have maybe 5 to 8 boxes in stock, new ones sitting in my storage unit, different sizes. And when somebody said something, when you can only, some guys aren't very, you can take your tape measure out and say, hey, it's this big by this, but not until you bring it and you lay it out there and they walk in and you dim the lights down in the truck, you put some Barry White on and you leave them alone for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Magic happens. So
very true. Very true. It's the magic of the tool truck.
Yeah. So, when it's like the guy, this one guy that I have kind of on the hook, I really hope it goes through. It'd be nice if it goes through, but as much as I should. Like I used to, like a lot of times I'll go in and I'll use their box as the example, and I'll literally take some blue painter's tape and my tape measure and tape the new box over so they can see the footprint difference.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, whatever you got to do to sell
And
it.
some guys will say, "Oh wow," because you tell them it's 78 inches. They're like, "Well, how big is that?" Well, 78 inches. I mean, what?
Right.
And then or then when you tell them it's 6 feet 8 inches or whatever it is, they still like. So it's one of you. They look at me and say, "So it's one of you,"
Yeah.
But so I like I said, that I also actually I had a 2 series. I got a 2 series and a JSC cart, a USA cart. And I've had a lot of guys ask about the cart. Again, it's, I have to admit, when you don't have anything, if you don't have it on the truck, you can't sell it. So
Yeah, very true.
And it's kind of hard, or it's not hard. You just have to watch what you're doing, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you've been watching the guys, any of the channels. I mean, everybody's doing videos from Sema.
Yeah.
And it just seems that everybody is fawning over the Harbor Freight area and their toolbox line.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow. I mean, okay, obviously they're less expensive than the name brand boxes. I can't say if they're good or bad. I don't have one. I know a lot of guys buy those carts and they buy them because they're a lot less expensive.
Yeah.
So I don't know what it was. I don't know if Harbor Freight got to these guys who are influencers and maybe put the push on to get the word out. Maybe they're
well, as a guy that sees them, and the guy that guys buy them. I had a guy at one of my shops, about a used one. And actually it was funny because I said, "Hey, I got a used one coming in." And, I told him the price and he said, "Well, that's pretty good." He goes, "But, I can get one a little bigger from Harbor Freight." And I was like, "Hey, that's no problem, dude. I can't argue the point."
Right.
But, at the end of the day, he's already said that, the slide doesn't work right, or, he can't put this much weight in it. Yeah. And again, that's the problem. I mean, I look at, I have retail wise, I guess I have $45,000 in toolboxes in my garage.
Yeah.
And, I could have just done the same thing and got the Harbor Freight line, and it would have been perfectly fine because it's not being beat on.
Right.
But those guys, those carts, dude, I can't even tell you how many of those carts I take in on trade, and they go right to the scrap metal man.
I have seen
they're so beat up.
I have seen some of them in shops that look really sad. I mean, listing, a leg is bent, a wheel is missing, the drawer. I mean, some of them get really.
Yeah, the weight on them, they can't take a lot of that weight.
I wonder, like, were they lowering the lift on these things? Some of them get really beat up pretty bad.
And and the crazy part about it, they buy them for $200 and $250 or whatever. I give them $500 trade in, so It's no brainer.
Yeah.
And I turn around and the scrap metal guy comes by and I throw it back and he gives me $35. You know what I'm saying? So
how are you able to do that in a business sense? Because I'll tell you, all the way back in the early 80s, when I got my Snap-on boxes, my guy did the same thing. He took my Craftsman boxes and they were actually in very, very good shape. So I had them in the house. and he gave me more money than they were worth, and I thought,
Yeah.
man, this guy must really like me. But
Well,
guys have been doing it ever since. So what's the business model? How does that work out?
well, there's two ways, or there's actually there's a couple. If you buy on a deal, okay, a deal when if they give us a deal, if we buy on a deal, we have extra margin, okay, or if when you're doing your trade in, you're making it up on the trade in, the difference, to keep your margin the way it is. So, it depends on how much margin I have in the deal. If I like giving that guy, if the cart's in really good shape and I still giving the guy a cart $500 for it, I know that if I have the margin in there, I'm going to sell it for $250. And the difference is, yeah, he could go buy a new one, but he can't make payments. So this is the guy you're finding that's going to be making payments. That's why we can get the money that we get for that stuff.
All right, so just to put it down in real common terms, you're giving up a couple hundred to make maybe a couple grand,
right,
or something. Okay, some other number. Okay, that makes sense.
That, like I said, and sometimes like this one guy on this one deal that I have, I'm giving him a lot of money for his trade in, and he, that's what catches his eyes. But as long as I sell his trade in, I'm giving him $5,000 trade in, but if I sell his trade in for $3,000, I'm still making my money.
All right, so the ones that you send to the scrap guy are the ones that's the bottom end. Those are the ones that are like, percentage of garbage.
Yeah. Or, believe it or not, I took a Snap-on box that fell off of a tow truck.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Okay, it was mangled. There wasn't a straight piece on this thing.
Yeah.
And of course, it was right after the Snap-on guy had just left. I rolled in and I caught the tail end of the conversation. The Snap-on guy actually came out laughing and said, "Good luck." And I was like, "What's going on?" And of course, I went in and the guy's got this box that fell off the tow truck, and it's in all the drawers are bent up. Nothing works. The lid's all screwed up. And he said, "Man, that SOB wouldn't give me anything for this trade-in." And I said, "Well, I'll give you $1,000 for it."
Okay.
And he looked at me and said, $1,000? I said, "Yeah, I'll give you $1,000.
Did he ask the Snap-on guy to warranty it for him?
No.
Hey, man, it's lifetime warranty, right?
So, but I mean, the guy and I unloaded the toolbox. We did the deal, sold it. And I probably made a couple $100 more on it because I took it. I pulled the locks out. I had a set of locks and keys. I was able to sell the lock and keys. I pulled the casters off. Everybody loves to have toolbox casters.
Yeah.
Snap-on toolbox casters are actually very durable, high quality caster wheel.
Yeah, they are.
All of them are. I mean, ours. I mean, like I said, I can't even tell you how many casters I sell. People say I just want casters.
Right.
And I sell casters because guys want to build something to put an engine on or whatever, or roll a table around. So by the time I sold the casters, the lock, then a couple of drawers weren't destroyed. I took the drawers and laid them on the truck. Guys come out and say, "What's the drawer for?" I said, "You want to add a drawer to your workbench? Here's the L brackets and here's a drawer."
Yeah.
Sold the drawers for $75 because you can't buy them for under 150.
See, that's being industrious. You're actually, you're going that extra mile at hoofing it out and pumping out those sales, and that's good. That's
And I haven't finished it, and of course, it's one of those projects. But the case of that toolbox, I beat it back out. Doesn't look too bad, but I put 2 shelves in it, and I have it sitting over in the corner, and that's what I keep my welder and plasma cutter in.
Oh, you just wanted to hit it with a hammer. Come on.
Yeah, well, that makes it good.
Well,
Don't worry.
the best part of that story is you stole a sale from Snap-on.
Well, and that's what I mean, Jim. He's by humping it out and getting down in there and doing the dirty work and the stuff that nobody else wanted to do. He made some sales. So
Yeah,
that's
so you make a buck.
that's
But
that's
this is almost a lead by example and a reason that you've been in business as a tool man. You said for like 30 years or whatever it's been.
Yeah, 20 years.
Okay, 20 years.
21 years. So I got tons of casters.
Yeah.
21 years selling tools and watching the industry change in the last 20 years.
Yeah.
And you seeing the younger generation coming in and trying to, and all they're doing is selling what they're told to by what is sold to them. They're not going that extra mile. What service can I bring to every one of these guys? You're bringing in a true service, not just showing up. Hey, here's the tools. What do you want?
It's old school. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this just like this right here. One of our, we had that trade-in deal with the 1/2-inch impacts, right?
Uh-huh.
And trade in any impact, get $100 off towards our new gun. And one of the new guys, he called me up. He said, "Hey, I sent you a gun, a 1/2-inch gun, because I know you like that old stuff." And I said, "Well, why don't you fix it?" And he goes, "Why?" And I said, "Well, you can take the trade in and fix the gun, and then when you have a new kid, oil change guy, they don't have a lot of money. You give them a good gun." And Ray, you've gotten some of my guns.
Yeah.
I said, you get a good gun, you get them on the books, you can sell it for $250, $300, get them on the books, and you collect money.
Sure.
And he goes, "Oh, I don't have time for that."
I don't have time for free money.
Oh yeah,
so he sends it to me, and it just needs a front cover plate. It was leaking air because it was broke. You can see see how it's it's raised here.
What causes that? Dropping it on the nose?
I don't know. I'm really surprised. Unless somebody over tightened it. One time, I noticed it looked like it had. Well, actually, it just after I cleaned it, doesn't look. I thought it had one new hammer in it. But I've never seen a front cover plate crack like this. And but hey,
I couldn't make out what gun it is. What gun is it?
It's the 1769. It's like the Ingersoll gun.
Okay, it's a newer version of an Ingersoll IR-31.
Right.
Which was leading me up to what my input on all this is especially in the last year, being in this part of Texas and going into all these little towns, I'll go into the pawn shops and the thrift stores from time to time. And it's amazing how many Snap-on Blue Point 3/8 drive impacts and how many 1/2-inch drive Ingersoll impacts are in the pawn shops.
Yeah.
Ranging from $20 to $250.
Wow.
So they're all over the board, and I haven't bought any of them yet, but I've been tempted a few times.
Yeah, you got to see if that's as is condition, if they were, they need work or.
You can kind of tell what is beat up and what was, dumped off as a decent tool that they needed to sell and pawn.
Right. Well, that's kind of funny because, I have a couple older guns that look like hell. I mean, they look like they were dragged behind a truck, but, they're 50, 60 years old and they've been rebuilt a couple times. So they work perfectly, but they look like crap, So
my Ingersoll 231 1/2-inch drive gun, I purchased in the summer of 1990. I remember purchasing it. $125 if we bought 3 of them.
Oh.
So everybody in the shop bought one. And that gun is still used today. That gun was in my toolbox when the shop caught fire that it was in. The Blue Point 3/8 gun that was next to it in the toolbox melted into a pile of bloop.
Is that I all the one with the square body?
Yes.
Yeah, I have 2 of those out in the garage. Yeah.
That gun still works today.
Yeah, they're everywhere. They are. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good. Yeah, the I always made good stuff.
It's a good gun. I thought I was going to go broke. I never thought I'd spend $125 on an impact wrench.
You know, they're heavy, and I have a snap-on that was, I think, from the. I haven't accurately dated it, Brian. We talked about. I think the number's like H1 or something. It's either from, I think, the late 50s or 60s. And again, it's been rebuilt and hot rodded. The thing weighs a ton. And now you fast forward to the gun that I bought from Brian a couple of years ago, which is a more modern gun. And it's still, you have a half-inch gun in your hand, but it is noticeably lighter. So they did make some inroads with that stuff to make it a little easier for the guys who use them all the time.
Yeah.
The half-inch battery stuff is just super heavy. Super heavy.
The old, you get I don't know, you get the old Thunder gun. That's the old Thunder gun.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, that's it.
It's the round body, yeah.
Yeah, the old Thunder. And then you had the one with the hump. That one had a little more power, the one with the hump on it.
Okay.
This one doesn't have the hump. Yeah, this one doesn't have the hump either. That's an old Thunder gun too.
Yeah.
All right, guys, my phone's about ready to die, and I still got to pack for tomorrow's trip.
All right, Paul, have a good trip. Enjoy the show.
Yeah.
Thank you. Look for the pictures. I hope everybody got a chance to catch out some of what Roger got to say the other night for Wrenching for the Future. If you haven't, go back and check out some of Roger's Wrenching for the Future on the announcement that was made last night, and its partnership with the U.S. Air Force on our build in February.
Excellent.
That's good.
I know him and Lewis were going to be talking at some point, I hope.
Guy's got a hot rod on F-18.
I don't know what we're going to do yet. He's not clear on what it is we're going to do.
Okay. Maybe he's not sure.
I don't think. I know that a couple of the projects that were offered have been turned down, and that we're not locked into anything yet, other than he's pretty much locked in on who the build team is going to be.
Right.
But there's still room. If you all want to join in for a day or for the week, give them a call.
Yeah.
Where is that going to be at?
That one's going to be in Tennessee.
Tennessee.
Near Nashville.
Well, if I was living in North Carolina, that'd be a no-brainer. If I could accelerate my moving plans.
I don't know, Ray. You got too much on the plate right now.
You're right. I do. I really do. But that's striking distance. That's close.
That is close for everybody back on the East Coast. You got plenty of time to think about it. Build's not till the end of February.
And Nashville, I know the eastern end, Pigeon Forge, Gatlinburg from here was like 11 hours. So Nashville's got to be about 14 or so.
Wait a second now. I'm thinking they were talking about Gatlinburg.
That's eastern Tennessee. Nashville is further west.
It's the mid-eastern Tennessee. It's the Smoky Mountain area.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they're right in the heart of the Smoky Mountains. But Gatlinburg, Pigeon Forge is further east, and Nashville is more center. Tennessee's a pretty wide state.
It's a very long state. It takes a long time to go from one side to the other.
Yeah.
It's probably 300 miles east to west.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Actually, I know I don't know. It's got to be more because I know from. Where was I looking? I was looking from. There's a guy, Tony DeFeo. He's down there in Murfreesboro, and
Somebody else was talking about that town today. I've like never heard of it, and there's like 5 people all of a sudden
I'll
talking
tell you,
about Murfreesboro.
it's really popular. It's blowing up, but he's down there. He's been there for a while, and I know I was looking from, I must have been looking from North Carolina to him. Yeah, I was looking for probably like Pigeon Forge because I was looking at a town called Sevierville a couple of years ago, which is by Pigeon Forge, and from there to Murfreesboro was like 300 and change. So and Nashville's further west.
Yeah, Nashville's pretty much the center of the state.
Correct. Yeah, right. He's a
And
little-
Memphis is on the western side, and Bristol's on the eastern side.
Yeah, and he's a little east. He's an hour or 2 hours maybe east of that in Murfreesboro. Yeah, it's a hopping town. I mean, it's been really blown up. A lot of stuff's been coming in. A lot of industry. You know, a lot of things. My friend's daughter's even down there. She, you know, for work. So a lot of people are down there now. That's where Uncle Tony DeFeo does his YouTube channel out of, Uncle Tony's Garage.
Okay. All right, guys. Till next week. Talk to you all later.
All right, Paul. Safe trip.
Take care, Paul.
Yeah.
So I'll probably fix this, and then Tuesday I have my regional meeting, and when I see the guy, I'll offer it to him. So
Nice.
if he just wants to pay for the part, that way he can have, because I know he gets asked. We all get asked, "What do you have used? What do you have used?"
Oh, yeah.
And you know, I know some of these guys. Actually, a lot of these guys, you know, have no mechanical background, or they never worked. I mean, we have a lot of guys that never worked on a car. They, you know,
Right.
it's kind of funny, you know, when they get in. Some, you know, some of the people that that gets into this business that never had anything to do with the automotive or know anything about it.
You almost, you really don't, you don't have to. It sure helps, but you just got to know the product line. You got to know what you're selling, really.
Yeah.
But
Well,
you know, that's what, like, you know, when I watch, I'll give you the example of Mako Michael. You know, I watch him. Now, the guy was a line mechanic for Toyota. So he knows the cars he worked on in his days. And I don't know if he worked on a hell of a lot more.
Shrimp or the walnuts?
I guess he does, but
Yeah, I love the walnuts.
you can see how everything always goes back to that. Like, that's his window, that's his box.
mhm.
Whereas, and that's why I always said, you know, difference in dealer mechanics and shop mechanics. Dealer mechanics have to work on one car, and sometimes they can specialize. When you work in an independent shop, you work on everything.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's you get a lot more wider understanding of how screwed up these cars really are.
Yeah.
So,
I can.
But you know, like I
Ooh,
said,
I
it's,
need that.
it's nice.
Yes.
I mean, it's nice that you know, because a lot of guys will ask you questions, and of course, a lot of these new guys are like, they're texting one of us saying, you know, what tool do you need for this, or what do you got? That's like when I first started, I was really bad, and I'm still not really good with, you know, body shops. You know, I was always intimidated about body shops because I just didn't know anything really about that stuff. And but usually when you go in and say, when somebody says that they want a monkey on a stick, and you're like, what the hell are you talking about? And that's what they call it, you know, and you're walking around. Of course, it's not in the catalog that way. And you're like, what the hell? And all it is basically a 3-foot pole, and it has like an old bumper jack on it.
right.
And, you know, it's used to pulling out cross member, you know, radiator supports or whatever, you know.
Up here, there's another name for that, and I've heard the guy, my buddy Mike, use it, and I can't remember now. Oh, sometimes it's called a bang bar.
Oh yeah.
They have different names for it. So maybe it's a regional thing. I don't know.
But and I finally one day just said, "Hey, you got to help me out here." And of course, sometimes you get a little bit of grief and a little jazz around, but you find out if you just you find that one good guy in the shop or that one older guy, and you can ask him anything, and they tell you. And of course, it's just experience then, and you start finding. And unfortunately, like you said, Ray, I'm old school. I sometimes get a little flack because I carry so many parts on a truck to fix something,
right?
Versus just repair. Some guys say, "Oh, you can't fix it; you got to repair it." I mean, you got to replace it, And
what you should have done is you should have got like a stuffed monkey and stuck it on a stick, and labeled it "Monkey on a Stick Sale."
Yeah. I don't know. Around this area, and I don't know what we got going on. I'd probably get called. Some government agency will come out and get me. So
that's funny.
So
I'll tell you, one of the things that really impressed me was we made a stop on our way out last week. We stopped in Youngstown, in Lewis's town, at a truck stop because we needed gas. And we went into the building, and there's the register and fluids and all. But then to the right was this whole big truck store. I mean, steering wheels, chrome stacks, shifter extenders, T-shirts. I mean, and then just racks of. It was like an auto parts store in there. It was unbelievable. Fans, all sorts of stuff, for the trucker. And then you go down. It was like a little mini mall. And there was a little diner, and it reminded me of Marcus Dairy up in Connecticut, because like you sat at a table, but the way the tables were situated, the waitresses had a path where they could walk around like in an S shape through those tables and serve you from the other side. So I heard a guy order a Southern dog. I'm like, wow, Southern dog. I wonder what that is. And they had a menu. So I look at it. It didn't say what they were. They had like 5 different hot dogs, but what caught my eye was the price: $1.39, $1.59, $1.49. Like, are you kidding me? This is like where the real truckers go to eat, because it's definitely, and it smelled great. So then across from that on the corner, they had a tool store, and it looked to me like a U.S. General store, because they had everything from machetes and truck jacks to like measuring equipment. Veneers and dial indicators and pocket scales, all sorts of stuff that you would
I just dropped my fork.
never expect to see in a place like that.
Yeah,
I'm finished.
I think knives and all sorts of stuff. Then there was a restaurant. Oh, of course, next to that was like a little mini casino with all these digital machines. And next to that was a restaurant. It was a sit down. And they had like 3 specials. The one that caught my eye was this is how it was written: 1 pound New York strip steak with 2 sides, $26. I was like,
wow,
gotta be kidding. So we wanted to get back on the road, but we said, you know what? We're going to come back, and we were going to meet Lewis there and have lunch.
Yeah.
And then we left there. As soon as we left, within 10 minutes, what do we see on the side of the road but Summit? The Summit that him and Tyler go to all the time. I was like, oh man, we got to stop on the way back. This is a must. And what happened was we came out of Columbus, and I did a lot of
you got on the wrong side of the railroad tracks.
Well, yeah. Next thing I noticed, like, we're entering West Virginia. I'm like, what? What's going on? West Virginia. I mean, I understand you can clip West Virginia and come over to PA. And I was talking to Lewis on the phone. He said, hey, where are you? What happened? I said, yeah, this is what happened. We ended up, instead of being on 80, staying on 80, it took us to 70, 76. He says, yeah, through Columbus. He goes, you would have had it. You got off like at the first exit. You would have had to loop around and come out the next one, like a traffic circle.
Yeah.
I said, well, and he was telling me how we could come back, but I said, you know what? We're going this way. We'll just stay this way. To hell with it. We'll just, we're not going to change path now. But so we have to go back to pick up more parts from this guy. We got to pick up interior parts that are being painted and a hood. So there's a couple of options. One of which is we fly in and rent the Tahoe, load the stuff in it because the hood will fit in the Tahoe, and drive back. And on the way back, we're stopping at that. We'll be stopping in Youngstown. I never thought I'd say that. We'll be stopping in Youngstown. But
you had a picture, Ray, of a strap that was broken, and was that an ordeal or
actually 2 straps?
Oh yeah. So did you actually break a strap on traveling too?
2 of them. Yeah, I know it was just 2 ends. It looked like it could have been 1 strap, but that was actually 2 separate straps. Yeah, what happened is we had a 34-foot trailer, and the car, the body on the chassis was in last, and there were no shocks in it, so you could push that, you could bounce it like a basketball. It was just on the springs. So we decided to push it down and lash it down with 2 straps to the floor to keep it from bouncing. I mean, it wasn't touching anything, but when you're driving, sometimes things shift. And
yeah.
So those were the 2 straps that broke, and we found it at a gas stop. So now my buddy Chris bought those were like 3-inch. Yeah, they weren't 4-inch. They were like 3-inch straps. They're not the real trucker rated straps, like the real, like the nylon webbing ones that are like thick. It wasn't like a flatbed rated or outdoor cargo rated strap. They were yellow, and it was, he got them from a strap place. He didn't get them from Harbor Freight or anything. He bought them from, I forget the name of the place, but I mean, they were pretty strong, but I guess everything has a limit.
Yeah.
So we said, okay. So at this one stop, we took those 2 off and used 2 more. And by the time we got back home, we checked it again, and the car was bouncing again, but the straps now didn't break. So they must have loosened, obviously.
Yeah.
And those were the ratchet strap types too, which usually don't loosen by themselves. So I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
That was the only thing that went wrong. That one, we had a mysterious tire. It was a triple axle trailer. So all the tires were inflated to like 52 or 55, 53 pounds, something like that. The first stop we made we stopped in Jersey and picked up a bed from a military truck. But I guess after that, the first gas stop was it was either in the end of Jersey or in PA. The front tire on the passenger side of the trailer had 20 pounds in it. Like, wow, we must have picked up something, when we were off the beaten path picking up this bed. Couldn't see anything. So we aired it up, and every stop, now we made 4 stops on the way out for gas and 4 stops on the way back. And every stop, my job was to clean the windshield with the giant pole and check the tire pressures. And that one tire, the second time I checked it, it was at like 46 pounds. And all the others were around 50, 55, 56. And they all stayed like that for the rest of the trip.
Yeah.
So it went down to 20. Then we brought it up to 50, and it went to 46, and it stayed there. And never. So that was a mystery why it did that. I don't know. But my friend Chris sent me a screenshot of the toll bills so far, and it was like $133, $140 every time.
Wow.
We had 6 axles.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's. He said it was still cheaper than having somebody pack the stuff up and ship it. So.
Wow.
He bought the trailer, so now he owns it.
Yeah. Well, that's a good sized trailer.
Well, I think I told you what he's going to do is his plan.
Yeah, make a shop out of it.
He's going to make half of his storage and half as a shop.
Yeah.
It's big enough. And I found out it's only 6 months old. The guy that bought it, it has a long overhang in the back. And the guy that bought it found that to get it in and out of his property, it really scrapes. He would have to regrade his property to make this thing come in and out smooth. So he decided to sell it. But he wasn't getting any offers. And my buddy Chris came in and lowballed him and said, listen, dude, he says, I need the trailer. He says, you're sitting on it. Nobody wants it. You've had it for sale for, 6 months. He says, you haven't had any bites that you were willing to take. He goes, I'm bringing cash. And you know how that works.
Yeah.
So
So that has a tongue on it. That doesn't. It's not a fifth wheel, right? That was because you.
correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's towed off the hitch. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a lot of trailer off a hitch.
Oh, it is. But you know what? The truck that we used was his brother-in-law's 2024 Chevy. I'm not sure the model of the truck, what name it is, but it was a dually diesel with an 8-foot bed.
Yeah.
Totally top of the line truck. It's a $100,000 truck. You don't even hear the engine run, which is amazing for a diesel. You don't even hear. Only a couple times we were on the guy's property going really slow, trying to maneuver, didn't hear that diesel make any noise at all.
Yeah.
On the road, absolutely quiet. He's got one on order, but a 6-foot bed. His is still in Detroit. That's why he had to borrow this one. And that thing, you didn't even feel the trailer. You didn't even, I mean, the only times you felt it is if a semi would pass you doing like, you know, going faster than you were and you'd get a wind gust.
Uh-huh.
Other than that, you didn't even know it was back there, which is amazing considering it was empty. You know, empty trailers bounce around, they suck.
Yeah.
And when it was full, you know, it had a lot of stuff in it. So we were tempted to go through one of the weight scales, and we didn't know if we could do that, if they would let you weigh yourself. And then we were afraid that maybe we find out we were overweight, and then we get like, you know, pulled off the road. So
They'll let you weigh those scales. All you got to do, like Flying J, is go back to where the scale is, look and see if there's anybody in line, pull onto the scale, punch the button, tell them what your truck is.
we actually saw a couple of them in some of the gas stations. They had a
Yeah.
a
That's what he's talking about on the Flying J. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I didn't see we didn't have any Flying J stations, but yeah.
Yeah, that would be my luck. That's why I try to stay away from them because
so
you
we
know
just let it be.
my luck is I'd be right a hair over, and you know
I don't know. You know, I don't know what that trailer is rated for, and I don't know what the limit is, but I don't think we eclipsed it because I mean we had an empty body on a chassis. We had a second chassis with the Corvette suspension in it. We had the bed for this military truck, which actually was made out of steel. This thing was freaking heavy. That was heavy. And we had the GTO rear end. Even the back seats for that car are heavy because they become the floor. We had the LS engine, the transmission, the glass, the fenders. That's kind of what was in the trailer. And all the small parts, all the box small parts were in the truck itself, in the bed. So, yeah, I don't think we were overweight.
So did you had you're lucky that you were able to at least balance it out because with the truck the truck bed being so heavy, you know, I guess with everything else, but
well, the beauty thing, the way we did it was we rolled in the bare chassis first, all the way to the front of the trailer. And then on that, we put the bed of that military truck and filled that. So that was all tongue weight in the front. And then we pushed the car in nose first because it didn't have fenders on it. So we had the first frame backed in and the second frame nosed in. So we kind of interlocked the frame horns on the chassis and then on the car. And we wanted to put the engine in between the two, but we couldn't position it. So that was just empty. And then the only room we had behind the car, we were able to put this big box of glass, which was about 4 foot wide by 2.5 feet deep. You know, that was the last thing. The guy that was loading wanted to put the engine in the back. We said, no, we don't want the engine all the way in the back. That's, you know, so I got to tell you something. This guy who he bought the car from, I've never seen a guy work a forklift so proficiently in my life. And I told him so. I said, John, I mean, besides just moving around his property, serpentining through the cars and the gravel and, you know, like a chance. You know, at one point he said to me, hey, go do me a favor, grab me the forklift extenders and bring them over here. So I did, and he'd just roll up to it, pick one up, back up, pick the other one up, and then he would raise them and just shake it.
Yeah.
Like, wow, that was, I mean, that's probably common. But to me, it's not common. To me, that was
Yeah.
pretty cool, you know.
Yeah.
And we got that engine. We insisted, so he actually got that engine with a strap through the front door of the trailer, the side door, and we laid it right in front by the winch, so it was right up by the tongue. We wanted that. That's where that sat. So yeah, I think the weight was balanced pretty well. Like I said, there was no disturbances driving it.
Uh-huh.
If that weight hadn't been balanced, you'd have noticed it.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
'Cause
and
a
that's
friend
the
of mine,
beauty. You know,
Yeah.
the guy. I mean, like I said, he would have put the engine in the back. We disagreed. He knows how to load. My friend Chris has towed and moved stuff forever, and we had my buddy Mike with me from the shop, and he's towed and moved stuff. He's always moving stuff upstate in his trailer. So, you know, I was amongst professionals. So I just sat back and watched and learned and, you know, did what they told me to do. You know, I was actually documenting. I took pictures.
no, really? Come on, Ray.
Well, you know what? There wasn't much lifting to do because this guy John had the forklift and he had a skid steer, and everything that had to get moved was moved with the forklift. Even the car, we pushed it in with
Yeah.
the forklift. We didn't push it by hand. Yeah,
I
we
want a
pushed-
forklift so bad.
Oh, let me tell you. Yeah.
I got one I'm looking at, and we'll see what happens. We had when the Kmart, we had a Kmart that closed up, and that was one of the things that they were selling was a forklift.
Yeah.
And I went and looked at. The only problem is I didn't work there, but they had an automotive center
Right.
at that Kmart. And a few of my buddies from high school worked there. And that was the same one. So that was like over 40 years old, 45 years old forklift.
It's a
And
Kmart.
it was in pretty rough shape. The price was right, but it was pretty rough.
It was what, propane?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, rough. Yeah, it gets beat up and, run into walls, but, that's not hard use. That's not like heavy duty warehouse work.
it was pretty scary. And actually, there's one I'm looking at, or I've been trying. It's at the Ford dealership, and it just stopped, and they've left it outside. It's been sitting there for about 2 months, and it's just been sitting out in the parking lot. And I keep saying I'm gonna go by and drop the old tailgate, the lift gate on the tool truck and scoop it up. And
We got one at the shop a couple of years ago. A guy gave it to my buddy, and it was a battery. It was an electric one. It was battery powered. But it ended up, that was my job to diagnose it, and the batteries were toast, and the batteries were very expensive.
Yep.
So out it went. It was in good
Yeah.
shape otherwise, though.
Yeah. So I keep, every time I go in there, I was like, hey, what about that forklift? We're supposed to be getting a new one. I said, well, can that one disappear? Let me know when it can disappear.
Yeah, not using it.
Yeah.
There you go.
It just stopped. And they left it right where it stopped, too.
We have a couple of companies that sold forklifts, high low, and they have them all lined up outside, against the fence. So as you're driving, and you realize you're looking at these things for like 2 minutes, like, man, that's a lot of product out there.
Yeah. We have, government or military from different bases, army bases. The stuff, we have an auction site up here. And dude, all kinds of, they had, they were Snap-on toolboxes loaded with tools. And, we're talking, they were 42-inch toolboxes. So we're talking pretty good sized toolboxes with tools. And they were going for $2,000-$3,000.
Wow.
And they just had endless rows of them that, they go through, and they'd sell, they have Hummers. They have it all. All that stuff is just.
I just found a guy last week on YouTube who what he does is he does that. He'll buy an old toolbox with tools in it at the estate sale or maybe at an auction, and his thing is like an unboxing video. So he goes through it, and and it's funny because you're looking at a guy who's like in his 50s, and pulling out some stuff and saying, "Damn, I don't know what the hell this is." I'm like,
Yeah.
It's a ring spreader, It's
Yeah.
like, it's like, come on, dude. Like, where you been?
I've seen that guy before. I mean, it's like, come on, dude. Seriously?
Yeah. Exactly. But
All right, guys. Thanks for me to Bill.
all right, Jim.
All right, Jim.
Good
Take
night.
it easy.
Hey, guys. See you next week.
All right.
Yep.
The thing
Stay out of trouble, Jim.
The thing that really amazed me about that guy was every box he got, and it doesn't amaze me about him, but every box he got and he went through, the tools were just thrown in the drawers. And
Yeah.
how do people work like this?
A lot of people do.
Oh my God.
A lot of people do.
I get
It's
hives
amazing.
seeing that, man. I get hives. I get itchy.
You'd be surprised, and I've told Luke, from Easy Red.
Yeah.
I've talked to him a dozen times, dude. I sell, and I'm not even I'm not a very organized guy. I mean, I'm like I said, I'm not organized, but I sell so much organizational stuff that is unbelievable. How much that you sell, and guys still never use it or never get around to it, or the biggest problem is they end up seeing something and say, "Oh, I'm going to do that instead," and they have so much stuff.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
It is. I think people are their own worst enemy. They don't know where to start because it's so daunting. It's like cleaning my basement. I don't know where to start. Well, the problem I have is like even if I want to clean and move stuff, I have nowhere else to put it.
Yeah.
It's like a shell game. It's like, but they're all shells.
Yeah.
It's like, help. So I don't know. Maybe that's it.
No, it is, because I mean, I have the same problem. That's the problem I have with the tool truck. The, so much stuff. And then of course, when I bring it out, I have no place to put it. So whatever I put out, when it gets to a certain time, I got to start putting it back in because I don't have any place to keep it.
How did the pumpkin thing go? How did that finally work out?
It never, it did not,
not as expected.
Yeah, it didn't live up to when I do my bust my balls. A lot of guys, I have to admit, I really have a communication problem. I still, just because of the, yeah. I mean, I have a lot of guys. You explain something to them, and of course, they always say, "Yeah, you understand, right? Yeah." Of course, they it's just easy for them to say yes, I guess, instead of ask a question.
Right.
And a few guys that I know, like I said, they said, "Really, you want me to do that?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it's you can get stuff." And of course, I have a lot of guys that kind of, instead of just playing along, they're like, "Well, if I want one, I'll just buy it." All right, so don't ask me for a free T-shirt, asshole. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, like I said, and I have to admit, not to get all, you get what you put into it, right? I mean, I put a lot of work into it. I started out, and I will admit, I lose my patience pretty quick after about the first 3 days about trying to explain it. And it's not that difficult.
Right.
You buy something, you pick a bulb, you throw it on the ground, there's a piece of paper, and it tells you what you won. It's real simple.
It's like a fortune cookie.
Yeah. So you want me to break this? Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, you do this, guy. Pull it, drop it, see that piece of paper? Look, I want a T-shirt. Oh, I don't want a T-shirt. All right, never mind. Just go.
Yeah.
So,
you try to do the right thing. You try and make it interesting. Maybe you should just say, hey, you know what? Put your energy somewhere else. Screw these guys.
I had a money jug, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay, my money jug game. And basically it was I had three set, you buy something for every $100 that you bought, $1 went in. You made for every $50 that you paid, another dollar went in. You downloaded the app, you got $3 because I'm trying to push the app. You know what I'm saying?
Well, push it when it works.
Yeah, well, it's gotten a lot better, Ray. It's
Okay.
gotten a lot better.
Good.
It's getting there.
Okay.
So, but I had so many guys that you explain it, you'd show it. I had the rules out, you go through, and the guys would say, "All right, well, put me in for $1." And they would take $1 out of their pocket and throw it in the jug, and I'm like, "Well, you don't have." I said, "No, I put the money in." Well, why would you put your money in? I said, right, never mind.
Oh boy.
My daughter would tell them it's called listening and comprehension.
Yeah.
These guys didn't pay attention in like economics or math class, I guess.
Yeah, and like I said, it was funny. The guy that won, he had come out to the truck, and I said, "Oh, there he is," and I said, "See right here," because I had the bill with the number on, your customer number on it, and
yeah,
he looked at it and said, "Yeah, what's that number?" And I said, "Well, that's the customer number." And I said, "Who's that customer?" And I showed him on his receipt, and he goes, "Oh, I won $1. Great."
Oh.
And I said, no, you won all the dollars. He goes, "Well, what am I supposed to do with that?" And I was like,
boy, Rhodes Scholars you got there.
I said, you won the money.
Well, you tell them, well, now what you're supposed to do is take $1 out, put it in your pocket, and give the rest back to me.
Well, actually, I mean, the last time the guy did that, he paid his account off, which was great. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But this guy, he only owed me like $8.
Figures.
But like I said, it's so I'll go. Let's see here. We'll go a couple weeks, and then I'll try to bust my balls, and hopefully, I've done that more. So a few guys. I mean, that one goes over a little better.
They're catching on.
Yeah, except for that 1 year. One of the first years I did it, I actually put money in the bulbs. I mean, in the bulb, in the ball, and I had like, a hand, I don't know, 50 and 10s, and I had a couple 20s. But one of the big things was a $100 bill.
All right.
That I put in this bulb, right? And it was so funny. I had a Spanish guy come out, and he's like, "Oh, Christmas, and I'm like, yeah, this is what we're doing, bust my balls. You pay, you get to pick one, and break it and see what you won, and he's like, yeah, and so he makes a payment and bought something. I said, well, go ahead, pick one. And he looked around and said, oh, yeah. He takes it off. And I said, you can break it. He goes, no, it's Christmas.
I want to put my tree.
So he took the ornament and went into the shop. And I guess, but that year I never found the 100.
Maybe he has it.
So he probably has it. It's probably sitting on it. I mean, it's been 10 years or whatever.
Yeah,
so
he made, if that ball never broke, he'd never know.
Right. And I figure one day that the ball is going to be on the tree. And if he has a cat, the cat's going to break, and there's going to be $100 bill. So then he's going to either break them all because he thinks that,
right,
there's money in it, or,
or
so I don't know. I don't, that guy, I haven't seen that guy. I mean, I had him as a customer for, I don't know, 4 or 5 years, 6 years, and then he moved or went to another place. I've never seen him again.
Tell
But
you
I
what,
would be, I'd be really curious if the bulb, the 100 was in there, because I've never found. I mean, afterwards, I never found it, or nobody ever cashed it in, or never broke on the truck. You know.
you got to talk to Papa Squirrel for me, because you know what broke? My mouse just broke. It stopped lighting up. I got a message that said there's an unrecognized device. So I got to
Oh
change.
yeah.
I
I thought you fixed one.
I did. That's for the laptop.
Oh yeah.
But I'll show you something like this. You see how most mouse the cord comes out of the end.
Uh-huh.
Well, that bothers me. So hang on a sec. I'll show you something.
Ray redesigning engineering.
He's making it more ergonomic, I think.
Ergonomic, yeah.
Yeah, whatever you want to call that.
I know where you're going, Papa Squirrel.
Yes, I am an ergonomic. This was the mouse I had on my computer at work, and the cord comes
off
out
to
of
the side.
Well, it still has a hole. What I did is I opened the case. I just made a new hole in the side, and I brought it out there because it fit. It just felt better on my hand than it had, because I think it kept hitting my desk drawer. So I gotta switch out this mouse.
Ray just did a pretty good special effects. He was sitting in his chair, and then he disappeared.
That's
I stood up.
I didn't even see you stand up.
There must
You
be a
were
leg
sitting
on
there.
your end.
Oh, it is. You're sitting in a chair, you freeze up. I can still hear you talking. And the next thing I know, you're gone. So I know how they do some of those stunts.
Aha. Board, that means this is the mouse. Nope, that was the keyboard. That means this is the mouse. Now I gotta snake the mouse tail through the desk hole. I gotta go subterranean here. Oh God, that hurts.
Now he's going to be down there until the emergency room crew comes and pulls him out.
Why don't you just go wireless, Ray?
Well, that'd be an easy way to go.
I know. You got to be difficult.
I actually was going to do that with the laptop, and then I found out that the laptop doesn't have a wireless card in it.
Oh.
So much for that idea.
Hell, my new laptop doesn't even have a DVD drive.
Oh, wow.
And I had a DVD that I needed to put in it for some information. And I looked at that and said, well, that's the last time I'm going to let somebody recommend a computer for me.
I don't have one in mine.
You can get an external, Papa Squirrel.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to get one.
Because even like for the cars, they don't come with CDs, the aftermarket radios anymore. And I still like my CDs.
Yeah.
So do I. I got to looking at, because we were going somewhere, a couple hours trip. And Debbie brought some CDs. And then we looked at the player and it doesn't take CDs, only memory sticks.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, good God, people.
You know, they want everything just moves. And they just want you to follow them. Let's see. Why
How to
can't
get
I try to
do
pick
what?
up and move a
Hmm.
freaking thing here? I can show you the share screen. Doop. This is the bed for the military truck we had to pick up.
Oh yeah.
And it doesn't look like much, but that damn thing weighed, it was all steel. And man, it weighed a ton.
What was it going on?
Let's have to pick. It's like a military. It's like a Jeep, but with the big back on. I have the picture on my phone, not here. This is the truck stop in Youngstown. That was so cool. It doesn't look from the outside, but it is. And then, of course, when you're leaving Ohio, that's
Yep.
what you see. You see that big arch leaving Ohio. Here's the rig at night.
Good Lord.
Yeah. So look at that overhang on the back, you know.
That's what I'm looking at.
Yeah, there's two rollers on the back, but yeah, it does, and it's not that far off the ground. It's big. It is big. Yeah, it was a monster. So we come out from having breakfast, and we noticed we had a Chevy, then a GMC, a Chevy, and a GMC, all lined up in the parking lot.
This looks real similar to your bed here, Ray. I know I don't have part of the bed, but this is an old Dodge truck that's in one of my body shops, and it's got a 16 valve, I guess, Cummins turbo motor, twin turbo.
Yeah.
But there.
Actually, that's bigger.
Yeah, but see that bed.
It's similar, yeah, similar.
But
that cab is bigger than what this thing is going on.
Yeah, see, there's the bed. There's a better picture of the bed.
Right. Yeah, very similar.
It's like a military thing. I tell you, man, this thing. They didn't have. I thought I had a picture of the motor, but man, when I walked in, I saw that thing. I was like, man, this thing is awesome. I got another shop. I didn't take a picture of it yet. They picked up a 53. I think it's a 53. What would that be? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Like, well, it's a 3 window in the back, so I guess it's 7 windows.
Right.
Cab Dodge pickup truck.
Wow.
With a flathead 6-cylinder in it. And they're in the middle. He wants to. It's in pretty bad shape, but he wants to use it as a sign for his business. He wants to mount it up on the build, not on the building, but on a pole out front. It's pretty interesting.
This is the forklift this guy John did everything with.
Wow.
You see, he's picking up the car in the shop, and he's going to move it out. And there it is coming out. And there it is out. So this part Terry likes.
Yeah.
That's like a 750 horsepower LS. He said it was a GM test mule, and they used it for, I guess, testing different bolt-on stuff. And he said somehow somebody banged the back of the crank, so they had to pull it apart, and they put bearings in it and whatever, and freshened it up, and then they sold it. They stopped using it as a mule and sold it. And his buddy bought it and then sent it to a shop. Had the heads done, had a different cam put in, and it dynoed at like 750 horsepower.
Good grief.
Yeah, here's chassis number 2. Yeah. This is the guy. Yeah, the shop was beautiful. This is a GTO rear end. Again, he's got the forklift over here to the right, and it looks like it's levitated, but see, we already have the bed now on top of the other chassis. We got the tranny in there in one of the back seats, and he's going to load the GTO rear end onto that bed. And this was the part that I wanted to bring back with us back in February. And even now, Chris kept asking me, what are we missing? What are we forgetting? And I said, don't forget the steering wheel. I said, it's the most beautiful part of that car. So the guy had to go into like another garage and take it with the column. And I said to him, I said, John, you wouldn't happen to have another one of those, would you? I said, because that's my all-time favorite wheel, and I want to put it on the Nomad. But he said he's going to the Turkey Rod Run. He says, they go for about 300. Would you go that much? I said, if you get me a good one, I will. So we'll see if I'll have one of them in my future. And here's the car going in. Okay, this is the engine coming through the side door. That was fun. Yeah, that's how we were packed. There's all broken straps. This was cool. We saw this on the road. We got behind this cool guy was transporting a Chevy pickup. I guess it's like a 54. I don't know, but I like that nose.
Yeah. Is that the one? Does that have that doesn't have the 2 headlights side by side? That's
No,
just
I don't
one.
remember. I didn't get a picture of the front of it, so I'm not sure. It could be.
See, like that Dodge truck that other shop got, like that pillar, the B pillar in the back, has a small little window on the side. So it's 3 separate windows in the back.
Right. Here's his forklift. What else do we got here? Anything of interest? What are we working on? I'm looking at small pictures here. Oh, I was trying to get a picture of the paint.
That's like a black cherry, right?
You can see the it's got a lot of flake in it. It's got a small flake in the clear. So it's going to be it'll be nice in the sun. It will be. Kind of cool. Yeah. But let's see. Where is? Oh, no, it's in the other. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, so. Well,
Somebody's got projects ahead of them.
Yeah, he's got, and he's already looking at a replacement. He's got the 2 chassis. The one is all stock, which, nobody would use that. But he was thinking about maybe just getting the car drivable on that chassis. And the other one that came with it has a C4 Corvette front suspension already installed, and an independent GTO rear was going to go in the back. But he's thinking, he goes, it's going to take me about a year to build that thing out. He goes, maybe I should just buy a built chassis. And he found one. It's a perimeter frame, reinforced. It's got a coil-over front suspension and an independent rear already in it, and it's like 28 grand. And I said, well,
ouch.
He's got the money. I said, yeah, man, go for it. I'll spend your money all day.
I guess I can't say too much because I heard somebody. We were thinking about putting a different frame on one of our cars, the Pontiac, and Ken Digg said, "Oh, I got one sitting in the shop. I'll let you have for a good price, $50,000."
Wow.
And I'm like,
yeah. Which Pontiac is that, Papa Squirrel?
Phoenix.
Oh, okay.
78 Phoenix.
Well, that's a unibody.
Yes, it is actually.
So you really don't have a frame per se.
No.
Yeah.
We just bought this one on an impulse because we had a real good day at one of the Ren fairs, and we'd actually put some money in the bank, and we got it for $6,000, I think.
Really?
With 70,000 miles on it. Runs like a champ. We've already made 3 trips down here to Las Vegas with it. But
Nice.
we decided not to bring it this year.
Okay.
So
So why would you need a frame under that car? What's the issue?
there isn't one. That's just what somebody was talking about. Oh, there's
Oh,
no
so
issue.
to convert it to a chassis car.
Yeah.
That
I
can't
don't really care because I'm not going to race it. I'm not going to do anything with it besides enjoy it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, leave it the way it is.
That's what I'm going to do. Except I got to get rid of the seats because the bucket seats, and when you sit in them, you're way the hell back.
Oh yeah.
And there's a Mexican word for that, for gangster. I can't
Right.
remember.
Well, it's the gangster lean, the cholo lean. Yeah.
Cholos, that's what it is. What my mechanic said, you look just like a cholo. I said, oh, God, no. I don't want to get shot by the police.
No. No, exactly.
We'll get you a little hat with a feather there, Papa Squirrel. You be out pimping it, looking
Or a
good.
big bandana like Danny Coca wears.
Yeah. And out causing trouble for sure.
Oh, no.
So I guess Lewis is having too much fun at SEMA tonight.
I think he is. I haven't run into him yet.
Okay.
He's around there somewhere, but
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
having a real bad year this year.
Oh,
I can't walk 100 feet without just having to sit down, just run out of air.
well, I tell you, you got the best internet hookup that you've had for a long time.
Yeah.
That's
I'm
good.
going to go talk to the VA this time with a lot of words.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Because, damn it, what good is it to come to a car show when you can't hardly walk around?
Well,
Have to carry a chair and sit down all the time. And
yeah. Well,
Right.
you know, your physical limitations, you gotta respect that. You can't push yourself too much because it's gonna hurt. So
I don't.
unfortunately, yeah.
But man, I've seen some nice cars down here.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And, you just look at them and go, oh, because I can't even work on my cars now.
Yeah.
Because my hand and all that, I can get down on the ground.
Yeah. I know.
just can't get up without help.
I know.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
but boy, I tell you, looking at some of these guys, now I will admit I haven't gone over into the electric car section.
Okay.
That's where Lewis was out there this morning with that. He was live. They had a lot of stuff, 911s, C10s, pickup truck. It just had all kinds of stuff, all this electric stuff over there. It's kind of crazy.
I'll tell you this. I was talking to a buddy tonight about this, and on our trip back, now we were getting like 8.9 miles to the gallon.
Mm-hmm.
And so we had to stop 4 times, and it was like a 700 and 100-mile change trip. So it was about every 200 something miles. And when we came back through Columbus and took us out on 70 and 76, it's not like 80. Man, it was like going down in North Carolina on the western route. We were just driving for miles with nothing but trees.
Yep.
And what happened was it got to a point where we had 40 miles of range left. And we finally found a gas station listed that was 20 miles away. And we said, I hope this listing is good, because some of the others were not. I said, if it's not, we're screwed. And I was talking to Rob, the guy that does the show before me on Sunday, and he's all pro EV. I said, Rob, the reality is if we were in an electric vehicle, maybe we would have made it. And we did make it, and we got gas, we got diesel, the place was open. I said, but now if we're down to like, I don't know what that would equate to charge wise, 15% battery left.
Yeah.
I said, if we had to do that every time and wait like 2 hours for the charge,
Right.
and do that that's 8 hours on your trip. It's like, that's unacceptable. That's unacceptable, man. I mean, it was already, it already took us 14 hours coming back. Like I said, I was actually getting a little scared because with a car, you can usually, slow down, get a little bit better mileage. With the truck and trailer, you're getting what you're getting, and that's it. Yeah. And the reality was, it was night. It was dark. And if we had to pull over, we would have been stuck. So it really gave me a good feeling for another reason why I definitely wouldn't be traveling.
Well, when you had on the show and Rob, had his little thing and thing, and it's funny because, a buddy of mine has pulled his petroleum tanks out and has put in. He's one of the first full electric gas stations on the East. I mean, in the United States. I mean, nobody's.
How many years ago did he do that?
He's done. It was like 3-4 years, maybe 5 now.
See, it's funny you say that because Rob called me today, and I said to him, he said, "Boy, I hope he goes, I apologize if, he came into the studio. He goes, I'm sorry if I, came in and like screwed things up." I said, actually, what you did was you got Carl on a subject that I didn't want to go down that road because I know we didn't have enough time. And I mean, that was a whole nother hour's worth. And I said, and I told him about your buddy. I said, we were talking, and I told him my story about the diesel. I said, if we ran out, we would have been screwed. And I said, Rob, your idea of gas stations being energy companies, which they are, adding charging stations, I said, I think that's a good idea. I think it's a great idea. And then I told him about your buddy. He's like, wow, the guy did that? How long ago did he do that? And I didn't remember. I said, I think it was maybe 5-6 years ago. I said, I don't know who he had as customers, but it was probably nobody, but he was a visionary. He was seeing the future.
Yeah. So, and, when Rob said that, how come the oil, and the reason why is there's no way the oil companies want to do both.
Well,
I mean, it comes down to I mean, unless you're going to get a oil company, Shell, Texaco, Amoco, whatever, BP, an oil company, and they say, or they make the conversion for that, but you're not going to have the two opposite sides. I mean, that'll just never happen because of money.
I don't know. You see, I think the other way. I think if they could say,
you're thinking the right way, but you're talking about two different parties that will never see eye to eye.
Yeah, but look at it this way. The way I see it is, I'm looking at it from a business perspective. If Exxon could say, okay, you know what, we're going to put charging stations in. We're going to start with maybe 20% of our stations, but they're going to get a cut of that. They're going to make money off it. So it's just like selling a commodity. It's just like if you took on, another brand of tool as a sideline and sold it. All right, you may not have the profit margin that you get on your main stuff, but you're still making money. Yeah. So money is money.
Yeah, but I mean, a normal person would think that way.
Yes.
I mean, a normal person thinks that way. But the problem is, it's like the oil company, there's so much, I don't want to really use the word hate, but you got electric company fighting oil company, and it's just not going to happen. The bottom line is, and I mean, I could see that would be, like I said, I could see that one of the big oil companies say, hey, we're going to do both and have that, but it's just money wise, it's not going to work out.
I think if the bean counters got involved, they would push it more because they're all about the bottom line and the profit margin.
Yeah.
And as long as they know they're making money off it, and like Rob said, obviously this is a much smaller part of the pie, but when the EV's charging, now if they could go inside and there's a rest stop and they can maybe watch TV or get Wi-Fi and buy snacks from the store.
Well, that's the funny thing. Like my buddy Dolly with his stop, somebody had asked him, "Are you going to have a restaurant? Not a restaurant, but a food sir?" And he said, "No, I want to open it up to the community. You can walk across the street, get a haircut. We have this restaurant over here. We have this over here." He tried to make it this way, and then of course the funny part was, or one of the issues that I saw, then he paid for all that. Nobody gave him any money for it. He paid for it all. He did all this out of his pocket. Didn't get any kind of kickback, but then everybody around him wants the state to do it, to put charging places in front of their place.
Right.
And, it's like, well, wait a minute, this guy is trying to help the community, but you don't let him, you have the state put in stuff at a lower rate or lower charge rate, and he doesn't have, it's just kind of bizarre.
It's going to be a bloody mess for a while.
Oh,
and
well.
I don't think EVs are going to take over for gas cars, because where did we would have to charge up twice before we got to San Francisco.
Yeah.
And that's
like
350 miles.
I said, that really was an eye opener for me. And I said, I think anybody who's thinking about this as a real model, all they need to do is take a road trip across the country, not even across the country, just, we did
take one to take a 4-hour trip.
Yeah, we did a 12, we did a 700-800 mile trip. And literally, I think by like halfway, it was really sinking in to me, at least, which I already understood it and believed it. But now I was seeing it like, if we were ill prepared, or if there was bad weather and the stations were shut down, we would be dead on the road.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's just all there is to it. We would have been dead on the road.
Well, our governor is trying to eliminate sales of gas cars in California in 2035.
Yeah.
He doesn't want any more gas cars sold in California. He's getting a lot of grief out of that, because California's there, even though it's crowded as hell in some places, other areas it's pretty desolate. Right. And but they're trying.
Even here, you talk about New York, where I am on Long Island, and then Brooklyn and Queens, very densely populated. But you go upstate, and it's like where you are. I mean, it's you're in the wilderness.
That's it. Nothing there.
So
you're not going to be.
I'm gonna don't go there. I'm gonna end the stream for now, and then we'll just stay on.
Okay.
So I'll end it for now, saying it's been a pleasure hosting Plane in Traffic. Ray Guarino from Motormouth Radio. Papa Squirrel, Mac Man, Brian will be hanging out. Lewis is at SEMA, so we'll catch up with the big man next week when he comes back, and watch the download.